Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the second half of Applied Day 2018. This is a series of webinars that Applied Engineering gives each year to share with the manufacturing, engineering, and technology industry. Not the future of technology, but what is currently available to be implemented in your organization. Applied Engineering is here to help with today's challenges. I would encourage you to check out all of today's presentations to get a full picture of how we're helping our clients. Other sessions today include, right after this webinar, at 10 a.m. we have Impact Dakota, preparing for the industrial Internet of Things, and that will be followed up by Manufacturing and Engineering Landmines, how to avoid and overcome, and that will be starting at 11 a.m. The topic for this webinar is software development strategies used by Applied to create the best customer experience. Let's kick this off with a quick overview of Applied Engineering. Our competitive advantage is our pillars, which include top talent. We have full-time engineers and IT experts to fit your project or fit into your team and attack any problem head-on. Next, we have total technology. We deliver the technology and tools to power both your engineering department and your entire business. Absolute adaptability. We are built to scale, so we can flex to fit your work style. And here is a short 3-minute video about Applied before we get started.
Whether you're talking about a team of people or mechanical parts of a machine, one thing is certain. In order to work properly, they have to fit. A square peg in a round hole? Nope. Oil and water? Not going to happen. At Applied Engineering, it's our business to make sure that we fit with your plans, people, and projects, and in sync with the culture of your company and according to your specific needs. We achieve this by combining top talent, total technology, and absolute adaptability, creating a custom solution just for you, when you need it and where you need it. Why Applied Engineering? We thought you'd never ask. You see, the speed of business can be a complicated mosaic of custom software, machines, and computers, and sometimes you need a team of professionals to help you navigate it. And that's where we fit in. It takes the right people with some of the best minds in the business to help you turn your ideas and dreams into physical products. Our talent will help you implement industry-leading design and manufacturing software, saving you time and money throughout your design and manufacturing process. We reduce the paper pileup by digitally scanning your large format drawings and blueprints and making them searchable and accessible. We install and support industry-leading servers, storage, backup, and networking equipment to help keep your data secure, accessible, and efficient. All while working with our team of engineers and your product development team to design your products fitting within your timelines and budgets. Then, we work with your manufacturing team to improve processes, design tooling, optimize workflow, and increase efficiency. And to increase overall productivity, our programmers will write custom software to replace spreadsheets, secure your data, and give you the information you need when and where you need it. Plus, we won't ever leave you in the dark by using buzzwords or industry jargon that doesn't make sense. We're the only firm with the talent and technology to fit your project, your process, and your culture. Our ability to be adaptable to any work situation allows you access to our technical experts directly, so support for your engineering and technology systems is only a phone call away. We also offer standard classroom training on a variety of engineering software, as well as customized training to fit your unique needs. Visit one of our training centers, or we'll bring our mobile training lab to your site. With IT expertise, software integration, as well as concept, design, simulation, and production consultation and training, we virtually and literally support every facet of your product's lifecycle. Applied Engineering is the modern solution to your engineering, design, or IT challenges. Our dedication and commitment to fitting your timeline, budget, and specific project scope is something we stand proudly behind today and have since we started doing business in 1986. We are the only firm with the talent and technology to fit your project, your process, and your culture every time. Visit GoApply.com to learn more about how we can help you or how you can join our team.
So allow me to introduce myself quick. I am Josh Rader. I am the Director of Operations for the software development team here at Applied. I have been with Applied for a little over 5.5 years now. Prior to joining Applied, I worked for Bobcat Company as a system lead, where I developed manufacturing execution systems globally for 11.5 years. I hold a Bachelor's of Science degree in Management Information Systems, and I also hold a Master's degree in MIS as well. Some training that I feel is relevant to mention is that of a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification. Also, I'm certified in requirements analysis and a certification in Oracle Exadata systems for installations and maintenance. My experiences are diverse, having held a wide range of roles within the software development and technology industry. Throughout those experiences, I have focused heavily on project management, systems design and architecture, and that of customer service. Let's quickly run through the subjects that I will be presenting on today. First, I will walk through a couple scenarios that I'm sure many can relate to when it comes to deciding whether or not to take on a custom software development project. I will discuss how Applied handles the software development process with our clients. And in doing so, I will walk through each stage of the software development lifecycle and describe some of the preferred methodologies used at Applied and the tools that we use to help with each of these stages. I will also point out some things to watch for in the event that you would decide to move forward with a custom software development project in the future. I will discuss the benefits of using project management for the software development process. And I also wanted to mention that handouts are included with this webinar. There will be a live question and answer session at the end, so please hold all of your questions until then. Thank you. Let's begin. So here's a scenario you might relate to. Take an organization that has been around for a good number of years, and they have well-defined processes in place, but manual. Those processes have been refined over the years to make improvements as new technologies have come available and efficiencies are now being scrutinized. They are comfortable with the way they do things, and they even may have some team members that resist if anyone mentions anything about changes. But they now realize that in order to maintain a competitive advantage, they need to start looking at software to help reduce the number of manual processes being performed on a daily basis. I have one other scenario that we hear about frequently as well. Say you have a specific piece of software that you rely upon heavily for the organization to function each day. This piece of software may be an Excel spreadsheet or an Access database, something that started out as a simple tool to help simplify or organize a portion of a business process. Now, over the years, that simple piece of software has grown to a point where your company has become reliant upon it, and the person that initially created it is either on their way out the door for retirement purposes or has left the company for some other reason. With both of these scenarios, it is very common to find yourself asking, now what? Where do we start? This can be a daunting task for any organization, even more so if you don't have a technical background. You shouldn't feel like you have to sit down and learn how to develop software, but my recommendation is that you should have an idea of the software development process so that you can at least feel comfortable in knowing what steps need to take place. First step is that Applied would first suggest a no-obligation meeting with a software development expert to discuss your needs for a software solution. One of the first questions that we typically get asked is there a software that can do this for us? I'm sure you have all heard the saying, there's an app for that. The answer to that is, well, it depends. It depends on how flexible your process is, or how unique your process is, or maybe how willing your organization is to change their process to fit that of an off-the-shelf software. If in fact there is an app for that, Applied will be sure to tell you this, because it in no way makes any sense for the customer nor Applied to spend time and effort to try and reinvent the wheel if there is already a successful app in the existence. If it is determined that a custom software will be best, the next step is to introduce the software development lifecycle process, or simply put, the software development process. This process typically consists of 5 to 6 different stages and can consist of a variety of methodologies used to complete the process. Some of the well-known methodologies that you may have heard of are Agile, Lean, Waterfall, Iterative, Spiral, and DevOps. Of these mentioned, Applied prefers the Agile and DevOps methodologies. Both are closely related, but the DevOps includes more of the operations personnel throughout the entire process, which makes it a good fit for many clients in a consulting type of arrangement. So the first stage of the software development process is the planning and requirements gathering phase. One common misconception with many business owners is that the design and development are the most important stages of software development. However, Applied and many other experts view the planning and requirement stage as one of the most crucial steps in the process. It is a key factor in the success of the project and whether or not you get the product developed correctly the first time. It often becomes costly to make changes after the physical development process has started. Here are some common techniques used to gather software requirements. Face-to-face meetings with domain experts. This is probably the most common technique used. Then there are surveys or questionnaires that can be provided to the users in order to gain their feedback. Then there is prototyping, which often helps the user visually see what they are trying to explain. Then there are the use cases, which are very helpful in getting down to the nitty-gritty of any process. You know, those processes that typically get overlooked through a verbal conversation. Then there is something as simple as brainstorming. Applied spends time learning your business processes, challenges, any pain points, and your goals. So once that requirement information has been gathered, we are able to use it to validate the goals. This allows for us to prepare a scope of work and to create and then present a software requirement specification document to our clients. A couple things to watch for in this stage that we would consider red flags. These would be things to help you determine if this stage is going to be successful or not. The first one would be that there isn't much being done to fully understand your business and its processes. Basically, what I'm saying is that there isn't enough questions being asked to get the details needed. Also, if you aren't being challenged on any of the details that are being provided in order to make sure the items you are asking for are valid and will solve the problem. Once the requirement specifications document is completed, it will encompass all of the requirements that need to be addressed with the final software solution. This is an important step because it allows for the design and architecture step to get started. The design phase of this stage is where we determine what your software will look like, what the timeline is going to be. Workflows will then be laid out, and which databases to use will be determined. As you all are probably aware, there are numerous different ways a software solution can be architected. This takes a close analysis of all requirements in order to create the architecture that will be the best fit. There are many items that are taken into consideration while architecting the solution. Anything from platform to distributed or standalone systems to security and much more. One of the tools that Applied uses during this stage is called Balsamiq. Balsamiq is a rapid wireframe tool that allows for getting immediate feedback from the client without having to invest much time and effort. The image you are seeing on the screen is that of an iPhone. On the right half of the image is the actual phone. On the left half of the image is the sketch or the mock-up. This tool allows for quick, accurate mock-ups to be produced and then shared with the client to gain their feedback in a collaboration style online. Mock-ups of any sort of user interface can be created with this tool. With this stage, again, there are a couple things that we urge you to watch for that we would consider red flags. One thing is promising too much to the point that it doesn't seem like it's feasible, or not engaging your stakeholders on design decisions, or that there really isn't a communication plan in place. The next stage is where we really start getting into the meat of the development project. With the preferred Agile and DevOps methodologies, Applied utilizes techniques that stem from each. Development sprints are used to provide short windows of development time and allowing for rapid delivery to the client. This enhances the client satisfaction because they receive working product features quickly and there is more client interaction with frequent feedback. Daily Scrum meetings take place, typically each day of a development sprint. These are held in the morning and are short in length in order to be efficient. Applied uses the Atlassian suite of products as tools to help throughout the entire development process. The first tool I want to talk about is called JIRA. JIRA is rated the #1 software development tool used by Agile teams. JIRA is used to create and distribute tasks amongst a team of developers, a team including clients, and multiple people. We can plan development sprints with this tool. We can track progress with this tool, communicate and collaborate on each task. It allows us to attach documentation. It allows us to easily estimate tasks and define sprints. One of the nice things about JIRA is that we have the ability to grant access to our clients that will allow them to log in and track the status of tasks on their own project, and also to collaborate with our developers that are assigned to the project. The tool also allows for unique workflows to be created for each project that is set up and configured. This is beneficial, so if you have additional requirements, workflows, phases that are needed, it allows you to adjust and create on the fly. The next tool that I want to cover is also an Atlassian product. This is Bitbucket. Essentially, it's a source code repository. It incorporates nicely with the rest of the tools that we use. But Bitbucket is a safe, secure, flexible tool for team development environments that allows for multiple developers to be working on a single project without overwriting each other's changes. This product allows for code branches to be created and worked on while other developers are moving their changes into a release staging state for delivery. This tool also ties in nicely with Visual Studio, which is a common development environment used today. Again, this tool also has that ability to grant our clients access to a project so that they can collaborate with our developers that are assigned to their project. Next on this slide, you're seeing a tool that we call Bamboo. This is another product of Atlassian that Applied uses to help with the cumbersome process of continuously building projects and getting them ready to be deployed or delivered to our clients. This tool is very beneficial in providing an efficient and stable way to have continuous integration, deployment, and delivery. What you are seeing on the screen is a dashboard provided by the Bamboo tool. It's a quick look at any projects we may have in the development process, and we are able to see if there are any issues with something that may have broken the build process due to a recent code change. This is another way that the tools Applied uses can help catch issues early and quickly before they may become a more costly mistake. On this slide, we have a tool called Hipchat, yet another product of the Atlassian suite of tools that Applied uses as a collaboration piece. Groups can be set up within this tool based on some sort of group definition. Maybe it is project-based, maybe if we want to set up a group based on a specific technology so that the team members can easily communicate with each other whenever they need to ask a question of each other. I would consider this a sort of glorified instant messaging system, but for defined groups. This tool has the capability to allow Applied, again, to grant permissions to our clients so that they can collaborate themselves with our developers based upon the project group that they have been assigned to. Now that we have briefly covered the development stage of the development process, I wanted to mention a couple red flags again that we would encourage you to watch for throughout the development stage. One of those things is no tracking tools in place to check progress. A lot of times you might just have an organization relaying messages verbally. With our tools, it's very easy to track those pieces of information yourself anytime you want to access them. Maybe there's little or no communication throughout the development process. This is a pretty good sign that things could be headed in the wrong direction before somebody is able to catch them. The next stage that I want to talk about is the testing phase. This phase is not necessarily a sequential step in the process. And as a matter of fact, we strongly recommend testing process be incorporated throughout the entire development stage. The testing process is really to verify that the software being tested meets the client expectations, and therefore is a very important piece to the successful solution. There are a number of different testing methodologies that exist, and each one fits uniquely with how it can be used and what makes sense to use during a software development project. For instance, with unit testing, the goal is to isolate each of the units of the software to make sure it is working properly. Integration testing is focused on taking modules that may or may not have been developed by multiple different developers to ensure that each module is working properly when combined with the others. Next is system testing. This encompasses the entire system and can be considered a very thorough test of each and every input to verify the desired outputs. One test that often gets overlooked in the development stage is that of the performance testing, sometimes called load testing. The reason this type of testing is important is because the typical development environment will not contain the same amount of traffic and workloads as a production system. If you do not plan and test for this, it can be a big surprise when the software does not function as intended when moved to a production environment. Here again, just a couple things to watch for. If your team is not involved in the testing and or there is no testing stage, that would be a concern. Testing is an afterthought. No test cases or plans in place until the very end. Just a couple more things to watch for. So now we are at the point where the software is ready to be deployed into a production environment. This stage is typically an exciting phase, I guess, for the project team, and the client can feel good about the accomplishments and all of the hard work that has went into the development process up to this point. Depending on the size of the project and the ability to have a test instance available, this stage can be as simple as taking the latest build that is located in the test environment and copying it over to a production environment and then performing some minor cleanup and adjustments to configuration files. No matter what process is followed with the deployment, a final test should most definitely be ran against the initial production instance. We would call this a smoke test. Make sure that you don't forget to discuss the plan for ongoing maintenance. If a plan isn't in place for how to update the new software or how to handle any potential bugs that may come up, your newly created software will become useless in a matter of time. Users will not continue to use something if it does not work properly for them or if it causes any headaches to use. If that happens, there is an investment that risks not being utilized at all. Once again, I want to point out a couple items to watch for in this stage of the process. Again, these are things that we would consider red flags. There's nothing mentioned in the scope of work or plan of how to handle support and maintenance after the implementation occurs. The other big one is that there's no training once the software is built. It's tough to expect that the client is going to know how the software functions inside and out without some sort of a training plan. I wanted to touch briefly on the importance of project management throughout the software development process. Oftentimes, this is a piece of the project that clients are hesitant in signing up for, and the initial thought is that I can manage the project. I shouldn't need to have the development team do this. Well, in some cases, this is true. However, we have found that in most cases, whoever gets assigned this task outside of the development team also has all of their other daily tasks to worry about, and there's little time dedicated to the actual development project. Typically, the project management piece of this can be considered 10% of the project, but it is an important 10%. Think of all the organization that is required to complete a successful project. Some of the well-known tasks that come to mind are things like the project kickoff meeting, or all of the communications that need to take place so everyone is moving forward without any major bottlenecks, or arranging something as simple as the status meetings. Usually, again, that's thought of as a simple task, but if the team is large and now you are juggling multiple schedules, and often it becomes a difficult task to make sure all of the schedules align. How about addressing any conflicts that may arise? Who has the time to track down people and get some answers and some resolutions to things? This consists of all the small details that often get overlooked. Some of the benefits, they may seem small, but if deadlines are missed or delays are experienced, the project can become more expensive in a hurry. Now I'd like to quickly cover a couple of the tools that Applied uses to enhance the project management and customer experience throughout the entire client engagement. The first one we use is Salesforce, which is a CRM system that helps us manage communications with our clients. This tool allows us to easily create proposals that can be delivered quickly to the client. If you have worked with us in the past, you may have seen something that resembles the image on this slide. This is a portion of Salesforce that we use to send quick and easy surveys to our clients to gain feedback regarding a specific project or a specific Applied consultant. We have found that these quick surveys provide honest feedback because the client does not necessarily have to speak directly to someone if they are uncomfortable in doing so. The image you are seeing on the screen is an example of an actual survey that is sent out to our clients. As you can see, it is pretty simple, quick to fill out, and it provides us with some pretty helpful information and is a good judge of the overall satisfaction of the clients. The last tool that I wanted to quickly cover is that of an automated weekly budget report. This is a homegrown system that Applied utilizes to generate reports on an automated weekly time frame. The first piece here is an email that is auto-generated on a weekly basis and delivered basically to designated recipients. This email status displaying the number of hours that are available for a project, the number of hours used to date, and the number of hours that are remaining on the project. The second piece of this report is an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down the breaks down the consultants that worked on your project that week and the number of hours they recorded against the different tasks that are described. These reports come in handy, and since they are automated, no one has to be contacted or make a separate effort to communicate these bits of information to anyone. I would like to thank you for attending this webinar, Software Development Strategies Used by Applied to Create the Best Customer Experience. At this time, I would ask that if you have any questions, please go ahead and submit them now, and I will spend some time answering any questions that come in. I want to urge everybody, don't be shy on submitting questions. Here's one that just came in through the email. What have you found works best to prevent scope creep? That's a very good one. It's a great question because scope creep tends to be a fairly constant battle. Every project that we take on, it's a factor. I will attribute, I guess, most of our successes to placing a high priority on that requirements gathering phase, the analysis and the definition stages of that process. The reason I say that is because that is such a crucial piece to really defining the software and what is needed. If unknowns come up during the development process and we all know that they do, believe me, we have found the best way to handle it is to create and require a change request process. With that change request process, basically that way the change in scope can be assessed to determine the risks or anything that change causes on all aspects of the project, things like the cost, quality, deadlines, things like that. So once that change request is able to be analyzed, the stakeholders can then make their decisions on whether or not they want to proceed. And if they do want to proceed, then everybody's clear and can sign off on that change. Good question. Any other questions out there? We'll give you just a couple minutes here. Review my email as well. Okay. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, I want to thank everyone for attending today. Also, be sure to catch the next webinar scheduled to start here at 10, and that's the Impact Dakota Preparing for the Industrial Internet of Things. And then there is also a short survey that will follow this webinar. So please go ahead and fill that out. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.